You don't want to see these in your rearview mirror. Hey guys, Stype here with my list of the most villainous cars ever made. Let's go.
Number 7.
The early 90s were tumultuous times in Eastern Europe. Fall of communism, wars, unlawfulness. These were perfect opportunities for some well-connected mobsters to offer their services to the community, like giving out loans.
Such a lovely time.
And if you're not able to pay off the loan, which probably has 50% interest on it, you'll be seeing this, the E34 5 Series. This is not the boss coming to talk to you. Oh no, this is him sending his thick-headed, meat-fisted goons who do their talking by breaking your bones. A blacked-out E34 was a menace. When the West thinks of this car, they think of handling, performance, and practicality. When East thinks of it, they think black leather jackets, gold chain with a crucifix, and a Kalashnikov. The design alone was on the border between sleek and evil, even before it started being associated with organized crime. It was faster than anything else in the ex-commie countries, but still large enough to fit 4 bruisers inside, plus you in the trunk. And like a psycho girlfriend, you won't be getting rid of it so easily. The 90s Beamer will be coming back again and again until the debt is fully collected, or you disappear. And there were only 2 ways to disappear: over the border to the west, or 6 feet below.
Number 6.
Hollywood loves to typecast. Need a tough, sexy chick? Angelina Jolie. A sputtering English gentleman? Hugh Grant. A super badass car doing unlawful things? The second-generation Dodge Charger. Who could ever forget the famous chase from the movie Bullet, or the carnage in Death Proof, or all the chaos it brought in the Dukes of Hazzard? Blade the Vampire Killer drove one, and so did everybody's favorite family man, Vin Diesel.
Family.
I know there are other famous movie cars, but none of them has the star quality and the charisma that this one has. If you need a car that represents power, forget about the high-pitched Castrato supercars and go for the heavy metal that is the Charger RT. But why is it always on the wrong side of the law? Well, look at it. But also, this car was a bit of an outlaw in the real world as well. Thanks to its gigantic 440 V8 Magnum engine, named after the most powerful handgun in the world, a 1969 Charger was the first car to break the 200-mile-per-hour mark at NASCAR. It was so fast that the rules of the sport had to be changed in order to stop it from competing. It was banned for being too much, and that just cemented in its badass image. Also, it's called the Charger. What more do you need?
Number 5.
There's some deep-rooted criminal gene running through most Jags. Look at the XJ. You just know some unethical banker is riding in the back. Or the Mark II, which was such a good getaway car that soon after its introduction, bank robberies in England doubled. But my favorite bad Jag is the Mark X 420G, a saloon that shared many performance parts with the fastest car of the day, the E-Type. And I love the way it looks. By leaning the lines forward instead of backward, the designers gave it an attack stance, as if it's ready to pounce forward, just like that hood ornament. It looks absolutely scary despite that typical dose of British sophistication and suave. In the hands of the notorious Cray brothers, this car was a part of numerous murders, armed robberies, arsons, protection rackets, and assaults. If you lived in East London in the 60s and saw the 420G rolling around, you locked the doors and ducked under the table.
Oh shit, here we go again.
But as with all Jags, this one also had some strange power to make you likable. Despite their crimes, Ronnie and Reggie Cray were sort of celebrities. They ran a nightclub, appeared on the TV, and were often seen hanging out with politicians, singers, and actors. In short, the 420G is the ultimate get-out-of-the-jail car.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Sorry, Jesse.
Number 4.
I bet you weren't expecting this, but the numbers don't lie. The US police force kills a lot of people. And for that reason, when they see a Ford Interceptor, many people feel uneasy, even if they didn't do anything wrong. And this is not some political or social justice rant. This is numbers. In the last 5 years, over 6,000 people were killed by US law enforcement, many of which had it coming. But there were also 420 who were totally unarmed. That's hard to justify. Meanwhile, in Germany, in the same period, only 50 people were killed. There are many reasons for such a big difference, but the main two are these: the Second Amendment, which allows almost everyone to buy and carry a gun, and a short training time for becoming a police officer. Hell, I too would be on edge and trigger happy knowing that any citizen could be armed and knowing that I'm not properly prepared for this. Those are the facts. Those are the numbers. Many people fear police cars, and before this turns political, let's just move on.
Number 3.
If you see the Gaz 13 Chaika following you, it meant your family will probably never see you again. Why? Because this was the KGB car, the dreaded commie big brother that spied over every aspect of your life. If you talked to your brother who escaped to the West, jail. Wrote with your left hand, jail. Ripped Robinson Crusoe, jail. Made a joke about Stalin, straight to jail. Except jail is called the Gulag in this instance. It's in Siberia and will work you to death. Everyone dreaded the Chaika. Even if you were in the party, tomorrow you could be called a traitor or a Western spy, and then you'd know what's coming to you. A black and chrome Gaz with a burly 5.5-liter V8. Granted, the KGB was using other cars as well, like the smaller Gaz 21, but if they needed to snatch someone, they'd be using the spacious Chaika. And you have to love the hypocrisy of the commie regime. All men were supposedly equal, but only the select few could have this luxury car. That included high-ranking politicians, commie diplomats, and the Secret Service. As for the rest, they had to make do with a crappy 1.5-liter Moskvich. That's such bullshit. But don't you dare say that, or it'll be straight to jail.
Number 2.
Many cars get associated with the American Mafia, but none as much as the Lincoln Continental. The love between Dons and Cons lasted through many generations and many decades, but when you think about it, it shouldn't. Continentals are big, they're brash, they're the sort of cars that turn heads and announce that you just arrived, in style. A smart criminal would want to blend in and go unnoticed, but I guess, what's the use of all that money if you can't enjoy it? Besides, money is power, and the Continental says you have a lot of it. When the Mark II came out, it was the most expensive American car, rivaling even the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. And if the price alone doesn't intimidate, then the design surely will. I particularly like the 4th generation with its suicide doors, but later ones also have that power statement about them. Notable wise guys who own Continentals include Paul Castellano, Carlo Gambino, Richard the Iceman Kalinsky, and many others. Feel free to watch any gangster movies based on the real stories, and you'll see a Continental for sure. Of course it wasn't the Goodfellas. What I'm trying to say is, a mafia movie without it? Forget about it.
Number 1.
Remember the Chaika? Well, that was the baby bear. The grocer, that's the papa. It was the favorite car of countless psychopath dictators around the world, like Saddam Hussein, Marshal Tito, Ceausescu, Castro, Pol Pot, the Eyebrow Man, and nearly every bloodthirsty warlord in Africa. Together, they're responsible for millions upon millions of deaths, mostly their own citizens. So if you're thinking Mustangs or Porsches, Widowmakers are deadly, they don't even compare. When the grocer's passing, you better cheer it, smile, wave. One wrong look and straight to jail. But why this Merc? Why not a Rolls or something? That's because this was the most expensive car that the world had ever seen. Never mind the supercars or the aforementioned Rollses, the grocer dwarfed them when it came to price. And there's no better way to propagate communist ideas about equality than parading around in an impoverished country in the most expensive car in the world made by the capitalist West.
Ironic.
Another sinister aspect is the hydronomic system that operates at 3,200 psi. It controls everything in the car, moves the seats, closes the doors, closes the windows. Imagine a window with 3,200 psi force. That's enough to be used as a guillotine on the go. In short, if you were evil, this was your car. Jeremy Clarkson had one. And now, 3 more villainous cars.